Hi, and welcome back to my second Designing Randomized Wings of Fire OCs video. It's been a hot minute since the first video of this series, and I'm very excited to share this next episode with you all because I reworked my previous method, the awful wheels, and made something a lot easier and fun to use. I've noticed most people doing challenges similar to this one attach all the traits and variables to numbers, and then use a number generator to randomize the character, instead of the wheels. It just took me a minute to make my own template, which I'll be sharing with you guys if you'd like to use it, because the wheels were just awful. Not only did the recordings of me spinning the wheels make the video longer and disjointed, but I also noticed that it constantly would give me the same answer, and I'd have to completely restart. You have no idea how many times I tried to spin the wheel, and at one point, I think I got mudwing like 7 times in a row, and I wanted to scream. The wheels just aren't trustworthy, and I'm very happy about this change. I'll go ahead and show you guys how I personally use my method, and then I'll get to the fun part. So here's the template I whipped up for both myself and anyone else who'd like to use it. I've changed quite a bit about my previous variables, which hopefully will make the dragons a lot more varied and interesting. I'll probably continue adding certain things to it over time, and I even have a special little thing I'd like to add to it, but it's not quite ready yet, so for now it's a secret. I do have little bits of information everywhere on this template to explain how I go about rolling, certain liberties I take, what's optional, how to use the number generator on Google, or how I personally would use it. And I also have this template at the bottom that you can use to fill out your roles. I'll go ahead and show you how I personally use this template in case any of you are still confused. And then after that, I'll go ahead and get into designing the characters that I rolled. So first, we're gonna go ahead and roll the first dragon, which there are obviously 10 species of dragons in Wings of Fire, so we just put 10 in the max of the Google number generator and roll. And we got 9, which is Hivewing. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that here, Hivewing. And now we're going to roll for hybrid or pure. Even if it rolls pure or tribrid, I'm probably just gonna go with hybrid for example's sake. But I'm gonna still roll and see what it gets. So we're gonna roll and we're gonna get 1, which is hybrid. Perfect. That works out. Hybrid. Hopefully you guys like my mechanical keyboard noises because it's not going away. So now we're going to roll for the hybrid dragon. We're going to go back and put 10 again in here. Or you can put, put 10. Of course, if you roll the same dragon again, just roll again. We got 3, which is Rainwing. Cute. So we'll put that here. Rainwing. Personality is one of the big ones that I changed because I split the personalities between negative and positive. And I personally roll positive twice and negative once. But if you want a more evil character, feel free to roll negative once or roll negative twice and then roll positive once. Do whatever you want. I don't really care. So for negative, there are 16 options. We're gonna slap 16 in there and roll. I got 15, which is manipulative. And for positive, there are 18 options. So we're going to put 18 in here. Generate. And we got 16, which is charming. Charming. And then we roll again. And we got 17, wow, which is empathetic. That's very interesting to be empathetic and manipulative at the same time. Pattern is another one that I changed because I added a few more basic patterns, and I also added animal-like patterns. So we've got okapi, snake-like patterns, fish-like patterns, marine animal patterns, and bird-like patterns. You could you can pick whichever one of these animals that you want if you roll this. So you could pick, if you got snake, you could pick rattlesnake or python. If you picked fish, you could pick any kind of fish, you know. It's more customizable, but if you don't want that, just ignore them and just roll 10. But I like them, so I'm gonna roll 15. 15, and we get 1, which is albino. Also, I am not actually making this dragon for this video. This is just an example. I don't know if I've already mentioned that, but just in case. Next is accessories, which is completely optional. You don't have to roll, or you can roll as much as you want. I don't care. We're gonna roll twice, just for example's sake. So 14, generate 4. 4 is necklace / choker. Necklace, choker, and then roll twice. And 8. 8 is scarves. Cool. And then last but not least, this one took the most changes out of all of the variables. We are going to do abilities. I've made it harder to get animus by adding no special ability about 4 times in these numbers, and I also added dragon special ability, which basically means like if you rolled a Nightwing and you got dragon special ability, it could have prophecies or mind reading, up to you, or anything like that. I also included strange enchanted ability, which is like your dragon has been enchanted by an animus or by an animus object. This could either be a curse or an enchantment. It's completely up to you. If you don't like the customization of it, then completely ignore it and just roll. So, sorry, I just realized the numbers are messed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, just roll 7, don't roll 8. So, I'm glad I caught that now. So, we're gonna roll between 8. We got 4, which is no special ability. So, we'll just slap none in there. So, there we go. That's how I would go about rolling and filling out this little form. And of course, this is Dragon 1. You could copy this, paste it, and put Dragon 2 and roll again. So yeah, I hope that makes more sense. And now that I'm done over-explaining this, I'll go ahead and start showing you the design process for the dragons I rolled. For my first dragon, I got a Sea-Wing Tribrid, a hybrid between a Sea-Wing, Sandwing, and Nightwing. His personality is manipulative, shy, and quiet. His patterns are speckles / freckles. His accessory ended up being an enchanted piece of jewelry, which is very interesting to work with as well. And his ability is none. So when making this guy, I had a little bit of trouble because I had so much to work with. He was interesting to get as my first pull because not only was he a tribrid, but he also has enchanted jewelry and an odd personality mix. But I did end up coming with some backstory for him to fit into my head world again, the Talons of Midas, and I'll tell you a bit about him. Atlantis is a shy, quiet dragon who's very mellow and sad. He was born of a secret relationship with a Sea-Wing royal and a Night / Sandwing hybrid. He was cast away with panic and sent with his father far away. Hybrids in my head world are more than disdained. They're quote-unquote illegal. He was raised on a secret beach where his father ran a bar. He was told at a very young age that he was a prince and that his mother loved him dearly, which made him long for what could have been. A life out of hiding as a prince in a beautiful underwater palace with purpose and freedom. It sounded like everything he's always wanted. He ends up running away from his father and joining a ship headed towards the Talons of Midas. Joining a cause that fights against those that took everything away from him sounded fulfilling. He would do almost anything to get even a taste of the life that he never got to have. When designing him, I really wanted to make sure he was noticeably mostly Sea-Wing. I wanted him to be stout and kind of chunky, giving him a very round yet slightly unmovable shape. I really wanted his design to look like a sandy beach meeting beautiful clear water with the night sky hovering just above. Something that tied in his Sea-Wing, Sandwing, and Nightwing heritage well. I decided before I even started drawing that I wanted his glowing Sea-Wing scales to look like constellations, which is another hint to his Nightwing genes. It also was a great excuse to make him unable to speak aquatic, which I don't want him to be able to do. It's somewhat of a headcanon of mine that most Sea-Wing hybrids can't speak aquatic due to their glow-in-the-dark scales being far different than typical sea wings, due to them not being fully sea wing. They could be missing glow scales somewhere, they could have less or more of them, or in Atlantis' case, they ended up looking like constellations spreading around his body instead of normal sea wing glow scales. For his enchanted jewelry, I wanted to make it be a gift from his royal mother, in desperation to protect him and be some part of his life. The jewelry is an enchanted golden sandwing tail with a glass chamber filled with strange liquid that seemingly fills up on its own. Sea wings, in my head world, are terrified of the other dragons of Pieria due to not having fire, stingers, venom, ice, etc. So an ancient animus made weapons for them based off of each of the other dragon flights. His mother stole the one meant to mimic a sandwing's barb and venom and sent it off with his father when he took Atlantis away, for him to use and to keep him safe. That's really all I have for Atlantis, but I generally liked his design and his character. He honestly wasn't what I was expecting to pull this time around, but I'm happy I got to make him. For my second dragon, I got another tribrid, which is insane. I didn't think I'd be getting 2 tribrids in one pull, but she's a tribrid between Nightwing, Icewing, and Leafwing. Her personality is secretive, clever, and adventurous. Her pattern ended up being tiger stripes. Her accessories ended up being vines. And she did end up getting dragon special ability, which I chose to be mind reading since she's a Nightwing. Designing this dragon was a bit of a challenge for me. Night/Icewing hybrids are very popular within the fandom because of our evil big man Darkstalker and his sister Whiteout, so I had trouble finding ways to make this gal a bit more unique. Thankfully, since she's a tribrid, I got to throw in some Leafwing in there, which I decided to use to make her more interesting. The lore I came up with for her isn't too spectacular, but I feel like it fleshes her out just enough. This is Needle, a tribrid who dreams of traveling to Pantala to discover more of her Leafwing heritage. As a young dragon, she heard stories of Leafwings and their leaf speak, and the thought of being able to control plants was inspirational for her. She became obsessed with the idea of learning leaf speak, convinced she could learn and master it from Leafwings because she had Leafwing in her blood. She does have a very good green thumb, which also leads her to believe she can learn leaf speak. She travels Pieria and faces the dangers within to learn more about how to travel to Pantala. She hoards pretty much anything that has to do with Leafwings. But sadly, Pieria barely has any information on them, and what she doesn't know is that most of the information that she does find is twisted and unconfirmed. Although she's naive and oblivious to this, she's still a very intelligent dragon who can easily find her way out of issues that arise in her travels through Pieria. When designing her, I tried to keep her mostly Nightwing and Icewing, with small hints to Leafwing, such as her wing patterns, her webbing in between her Icewing spikes, and a green pine needle-like tail tip. I love her subtle gradient into a lighter blue Icewing color, and I wanted her tiger stripes to be subtle and shimmery. Her design came out pretty simple compared to Atlantis, so there isn't much to say about it, but I do think she came out very pretty in the end. For this episode's final dragon, we've got a Skywing Rainwing hybrid, whose personality is impatient, clever, and whimsical. She has bird-like patterns, her accessories happen to be jewels, and she has no ability. This is Harpy, a jeweler and decorator for the Midas Hall. I'll admit, I don't really have much for this character. I knew I wanted her design to be based off an ornate hawk eagle, which are just gorgeous birds in my opinion. I felt it was perfect for a Sky/Rainwing hybrid, since it's both a very pretty ornate bird, and it's also a predatory bird. Backstory-wise, I got nothing. I'm not sure why. I think her variables came out a bit too plain, but I do have a good personality in mind for her. She's one of the biggest gossips on the Midas Isle. She's constantly observing her surroundings and eavesdropping on conversations throughout the Midas Hall as she decorates with beautiful tapestries she handmade. She will spread the word of any juicy gossip around like a wildfire. She thrives off of others, being an extrovert with a passion for chatting and learning about all the dragons around her. She knows almost any dragon by face and name that's walked through the Midas Hall or the Jeweler's Market. She doesn't spread around any gossip that would harm any dragon, only small things like crushes, how dragons feel about the talons of Midas, and who's been spending far too much time at the bar, etc. On a few occasions, she's even overheard plans of overthrowing the queen, or planned violence towards other dragons in the guild. She won't hesitate to go straight to Tempest, the talons of Midas queen, and get said dragons removed. That's really all I've got for our gal Harpy here, and I honestly think she's a pretty fun character. I just wish I could have given her a backstory. But I guess not every character has to have a deep backstory. They can simply just exist within their space in the world. I hope you all enjoyed the second episode of this challenge. I spent a lot of time improving this video since the last one. I bought a new mic, I'm scripting instead of trying to speak from my dumb little brain, and I made a brand new method for these silly little randomized dragons. I hope you guys noticed the improvement. If you guys feel like there's anything else I can improve on, let me know. But, be nice about it because I'm sensitive. Anyways, thank you all for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Psst. If you're still here, hi. Some people were asking about the kitty in the last video, which happened to be my sister's cat Mochi, but since some of you guys asked so nicely, here's some pictures of my cats, my sister's cat, and my dog. Enjoy.